You're listening to Comic Reflections, Episode 9. This is Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Spencer Valdez.
All right, so today, a lot of good stuff, a lot of books to talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I want to start off with our web comic of the week. I discovered this. Let me back up. I started picking up Daredevil again after a while, right?
Right.
And Mark Waid is writing it. Mm-hmm. Loving it. I'm enjoying the issues that are out now, and we'll talk about that later.
Very good.
But as I was like leaning a little bit, I'm like, what has Mark Waid written? Because I know I've read things. The name I know. And I'm like, okay, the guy wrote 52, and he wrote Kingdom Come, which is one of my favorite books ever. I'm like, right. That's why it's so familiar. Oh, and he's actually done some Flash stuff that I had read before too. So he's very good. And he's done plenty of other things, but those were what sprang to mind. But anyway, webcomic of the week is a Mark Waid creation. It's a web exclusive. Hopefully we'll see this collected at some point because it's really good. It's called Insufferable.
Okay.
And it's basically an homage to like kind of a Batman, Moon Knight kind of story. It's about this superhero, Nocturnus.
Okay.
And, he's a millionaire guy, blah, blah, blah. And at some point he trains his son to be his sidekick or whatever.
Okay, cool.
But then son grows up, they have a falling out, and they go their separate ways, but they both continue on. But the son is this grandstanding, blowhard, just like bastard, okay?
Right, yeah.
And of course the old man is kind of like getting kind of shoved in the corner there.
Right.
So, and then there's a case that I don't want to spoil too much because I really want people to go and read this. It's great. That's kind of has to bring them back together,
right? To
kind of solve a mystery kind of thing from their pasts.
Okay.
I'll just say that. And if you want to read it, and I highly recommend it. I mean, Mark Waid, it's on thrillbent.com.
Okay.
And it's viewable there, and does about a few pages every week, and it's been going. I guess there's 8 weeks of the series up, so it's pretty new. Right. It hasn't been going for real long, a couple months. I just read week 8 this morning.
Awesome.
I discovered this last night, and there were only 7. And this morning I went back to the website just to kind of get some details. Week 8 was up. I'm like, yes,
cool.
Very good reading.
Yeah.
Yes, read Insufferable. That's a webcomic of the week.
The great thing about these webcomics is that they're free, and they're all archived.
They're right there. I mean, most places that I've seen, it's like, yeah, you can read it all from the start.
Yeah.
Which I think is a deterrent for a lot of new comic readers. They're like, oh, where do I begin? Well, maybe the webcomic is the solution for that.
Right. Yeah.
At least for somebody to say, oh, well, this is not so off-putting, and maybe I'll go into the shops and be picking up regular books.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll definitely check that out this week. So we started a conversation last week, kind of.
We were kind of edging our way up there, yeah.
Right. Between a discussion of the Green Arrow, Ollie Queen.
Yes.
Because I read those books last week about Green Arrow.
We were talking about we were talking about heavily like in the Justice League? What was that?
I don't think it was Justice League.
What were we reading last week?
We read Green Arrow, and a few others. I actually can't remember. I'm sorry. I've read so much this week.
I know. I didn't save last week's notes. Right. At any rate, it seemed like we were edging towards talking about Green Arrow.
Right.
But this week, what we got? We're kind of looking back at the Green Arrows.
Yes.
From the 80s.
No.
It's right here.
Yeah, it's right here. Sorry.
And also the Hawkeye limited series from that same year.
Right.
They both came out in 83. So yes, I think our plan was we were going to just kind of talk about those books, but those books in semi-specific, but also generally about talking about those battling bowmen.
Right. Yeah.
From.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, this got a little awkward. I don't know. So Hawkeye, Green Arrow.
Yeah.
If you are able to pick up the Hawkeye limited series, in a trade.
We just saw it today. Remember, we were in the shop.
We did.
There's a nice hardcover edition of it.
Yeah,
I have
really
the old
nice.
paperback version. The hardcover's got some additional stories
Yeah.
beyond just the limited series, so that's kind of cool.
I think it's Grunwald.
Mark Grunwald's. This is his baby on this
Writes
project.
a forward for it.
Yeah, well, he wrote and illustrated it. Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote the forward in 1988, and it talks about the
Yeah, that's when they
old...
didn't collect trades as quickly back then because it was kind of new.
Right.
Yeah, it was a rarer kind of thing to do it. But.
He talks about the old Bowman Robin Hood.
Sure.
And where how he's been adapted in many different stories.
Wood.
And I mean, it's evident. It's blatant in Green Arrow.
Oh yes.
The ties to Robin Hood that he has.
Yeah.
But
they're not really... so like, I don't want to say blatant, but they're so apparent in Hawkeye. It echoes it, but it's definitely its own kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think Ollie Queen's life kind of parallels that of Robin of Locksley a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, he had riches and then he lost them. And
and Robin of Locksley was a nobleman. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
Yeah.
So
it's fun because it's a new adaptation of an old story, and who doesn't love that?
Yeah. Lame people.
Yeah.
Lamos.
But both limited series are just phenomenal.
I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them both. It was nice. It was nice to read the Arrow series in the original issues. I don't even know if that's collected in a trade, to be honest. Okay.
Wow.
It could be.
Yeah.
But
it was fun for me too, reading just as a standalone book and then going to the next one. Both stories are just great, like tales of what a Robin Hood nowadays would look like. I feel. Because in the Green Arrow one, we have Ollie Queen and his personal life being affected by the death of
the guy was like his old friend.
Yeah, old friend.
Yeah.
Who had millions as well.
Yeah, and I believe that her character is a retcon.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like they kind of they're flashbacking something that had not been recorded previously. So.
Right.
Which is cool. I mean, and I think that.
Right.
Because, yeah, I mean, really, for the longest time, Arrow was kind of like, okay, he was in the League, or he was a backup story in, whatever book. That he got shuffled around quite a bit. So, as far as, like, going real deep into all those things, it's not like he had a book forever and ever, like, of his own, like Batman.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, the woman dies, and he gets this settlement through her will of an outrageous amount of money.
And he doesn't want it.
He doesn't want it. He's lived his life as a normal guy, and he's
because he had lost his fortune, and now
Yeah. He saw the dangers of having such a great fortune and how it just made him a kind of a punk playboy.
Well, I think that he realized that the money put a distance between him and the people that he was, a champion of, which, harkens back to the classic Green Lantern, Green Arrow, arc, when he was trying to show Hal Jordan, the
shades of gray.
Well, yeah, and trying to bring it down to Earth level.
Yeah.
Not this
uber justice.
Well, yeah, or lording above the people because I'm this galactic superpower guy.
Right, yeah.
So.
Yeah. We still get, though, in the series, the kind of the prideful...
Some things, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Right, yeah.
Ollie Queen is always Ollie Queen. It's like Clint Barton is always Clint Barton,
His jokes, his just underhanded comments to the bad guys, quote unquote, are just hilarious to me.
Oh yeah.
Because he's in the midst of danger.
Oh yeah, and when he's going to face off against Count Vertigo, he's no pushover.
No.
But
yeah, and he still
Queen settles his hash.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It's a great story arc, and I'd say go check it out somehow.
Yeah, I
Go to
mean,
your local library or comic shop.
if it's not in a trade, I wish. I'm not sure, but you know what? It's 4 issues. It's a limited series, 1983. You can pick it up in the back issue bins. Not too spenderific.
Right.
And maybe our good friends at Things from Another World can find it for you if they don't in one of their back issue bins. If not there, then in their warehouse. I remember in days of your not Mike Richardson, the publisher, but his brother John used to run They had a branch at Mall 205, and he used to go to the warehouse all the time for me to get old issues of Creepy and Eerie.
Oh wow!
The war and horror magazines from the 60s and 70s. Yeah. Love that stuff. Thanks, John. Still loving that stuff. So, and now Dark Horse is like reprinting those in all those wonderful hardcover volumes. Like, oh, awesome. Someday when I hit the lottery, I'll be picking those up.
We also went through the Hawkeye miniseries.
And I did that too.
Sorry. It was fun. We got to see
not miniseries. It's not the Thornbirds.
Right. Limited series.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's all right.
We get to see a cool side to Hawkeye. He's a fairly depressed in this because he just lost. Black Widow turned her back on him.
Yeah.
She called it quits. There's a surprise twist with a woman in the story.
Yeah, he thinks everything's going great. He gets this chick he's going with, and that things aren't what they appear.
Right.
I'll just say that.
And
no, it's not a crying game kind of twist. Don't worry. Yeah.
And so I mean he's just bummed out through a lot of the story. I mean he got a new toy, the flying scooter.
The Sky Cycle, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. But
remember He-Man used to fly around on something like that too.
Yeah.
Some of the time.
What's her name? Mockingbird.
Oh yeah, this introduces. No, this isn't her first debut, but it's as far as being the important to Hawkeye and Avengers. Yeah, this is her.
Yeah. I mean, she shows up. He thinks she's one of the bads.
The villains in the piece.
So they fight for a few minutes, a few frames, panels. But things work out, and she's,
This is good.
Yeah.
What I like about this series is we really get to see a piece of a closer look on Clint Barton than you would normally get in the Avengers ongoing books.
Okay.
We get to see a lot of his attitude that he cops to guys. It's just him trying to hide or feelings of inadequacy or overcompensate because it's he's surrounded by powerhouses.
Right.
Even the guy who might be closest to his equal is the super soldier.
Yeah.
So. And I think I've always, I've mentioned before in a lot of those early Avengers stories where Hawkeye had just joined the team, he is always giving Cap the business. I mean, oh, you square, Methuselah,
right.
Always. But really, it's because it's he's worried about measuring up.
Right.
And I love that.
And I mean, there's a great scene in this series where Steve Rogers shows up. And,
yes.
And they, he wants to bring him in on the...
or he offers his help, because he sees him he's in uniform.
Yeah. Offers help, but...
He's I got this. And it's again, pride. He's if I bring Cap along, it'll be Cap's show.
Yeah. And he needs to be able to do it himself.
Yeah.
And prove it to himself that he can,
Right.
Get away with it. You get a bit of a origins for Hawkeye in this series.
Oh, sure. He and his brother Barney were orphaned and joined the circus.
Yeah.
And Hawkeye was, Clint was trained by the swordsman.
Yep.
And then that's kind of where I learned that. Of course, it was retconned later that the swordsman, he was trained to be part of the swordsman act, but the swordsman never taught him the bow. It was this other guy, Trickshot, who was they became this assassin or whatever.
Ah.
Yeah, and that happened in Solo Avengers was a series that kind of came out in the late 80s. and it was another. They were like trying to like see about. They're testing the waters for an ongoing Hawkeye series.
Okay.
So the book was a 2-story kind of deal. The lead story would be often serialized, and it was the Hawkeye story, and then the backup feature would be some other member of the Avengers, not Cap, Thor, or Iron Man, somebody that didn't have their own book, in a backup story.
Okay.
And I had, a bunch of those early issues, and those were cool.
So yeah, we get the origins of Hawkeye here. Again.
Yeah.
I don't think we get origins in the limited series for Arrow.
Oh, there is a flashback.
There is a flashback?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty well known. He was marooned on the island, blah, blah. Right. Had to train, had to use arrows to survive, and then he got amazingly good at it. And then he returns to civilization and he stays the Green Arrow. In a nutshell.
Yeah, in a nutshell. The Arrow, I mean, for each character, the Arrow has become, the arrow, the thing they shoot, not Green Arrow.
Right.
Has become, not just something that they a tool that they use, but it seems like it's become like a part of them that like they need it at this point Ollie Queen needed it on the Maroon Island.
You mean like that it's an extension of who they are?
Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, yeah, especially when they're constantly surrounded by superpowered, friends and foes.
Right.
When their skill, is, kind
of called into question. Would you say?
That wasn't where I was going.
No.
But,
okay.
But when they're thing they've trained themselves at is their power, so to speak. When everyone else seems to come from like.
Right.
For the most part, it's within them, or it's an attribute. Like, I'm gonna go pick up that chair. Oh, I'm gonna go fly over there and sock somebody in the face.
Right. Yeah. I feel like some of the greatest characters don't have that. I can fly to the moon and back and just. Be
right, and you ask, and I've read this. Like comic book writers will tell you, like many of them will say, yeah, the guys who don't have the superpowers are the most interesting to write.
Right.
So it's like, your Batmans, your Punishers, your Daredevils.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, Daredevil has a superpower, but the radar sense is to compensate for his lack of. Right. He's interesting because it's all sensory stuff.
Yeah.
And they always pick him hearing something or smelling something, and then it kind of leads him off. I love that. But in general, you're right. It's not like bullets bouncing off your chest and blah blah. It requires. There are fewer plot devices, so you have to be a little more clever.
Yeah.
But
you can't just jump, in front of bullets and block them. You have to think about what you're doing there.
Exactly. So I mean.
And it seems like all of their arrows are self-crafted. They put themselves into their work. Batman does that with his,
utility belt and all that jazz. Yeah.
And so there's something to that I feel some other characters lose out on.
Yeah.
Superman just being able to walk in front of bullets, being able to.
Well, right, and I think sometimes superpowers become a limit on what you can do as a storyteller.
Okay.
Because, I guess I can't have Superman, you wouldn't have Superman or Captain Marvel or, one of these, major guys, dealing with white-collar crime.
Right.
That stuff you'll always see Batman, Moon Knight, Daredevil, Punisher, on and on. These kind of guys, that's kind of like their mainstay.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of not regular Joes, but they're, it's
right.
I don't know. It's on that again, the words. I'm sorry.
I think you're fine.
So.
Yeah. So I would say check these out.
Definitely.
You get some. Each character has their time in a super team. But at the same time, I feel like both of them are kind of on the outskirts.
Well, it's kind of like there's an old saying like, you are who you are when you're alone.
Right.
Okay? And solo outings from characters who you would normally see in a team setting. I think it's a great way of getting their measure, as a fully developed character.
Right.
I always enjoy. Did you ever read The Thing, his solo series?
No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh, it's Ben Grimm. It's a one-man show. A really enjoyable book. It's not always the greatest. I mean, they kind of had I don't know, but some weird oddball stories, but lots of. It's very personal, and you get really in depth with Ben as a character.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you get more in a window into him than anyone else you've ever seen in the Fantastic Four, because they don't have solo stories.
Right.
They just don't. I mean, the Torch has some, but anyway.
Yeah, so check these out. Hawkman limited series and Green Arrow. Hawkman. I'm sorry. Hawkeye. I'm just awful today. Green Lantern.
I'm feeling pretty terrible too. It's okay.
Hawkeye limited series and Green Arrow limited series.
Yeah, they're both
from the 80s.
Both from 1983. Both 4-issue limited series.
Right.
I know the Hawkeye is in a trade.
Because it's sitting in front of us.
It's sitting in front of us. And you might be able to get the trade paperback cheap now, because there's a hardcover edition now that's pretty recent.
The hardcover's cool looking, but
it's cool, and it has more stuff. But if you just want to read this, if you're content with that, I'm sure you can get this for a few dinero somewhere. So,
and also always check out your local library.
But Bert, go to your local comic book shop.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
So yeah, check those out. We can move on to what we've been reading.
Yeah,
recently, just for our fun.
Yeah, do you want to start with that, Spencer?
Yeah, sure. I think we've been reading a lot of the same stuff recently, because a lot of the same stuff has been coming out, and we've been enjoying it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense that we would kind of, share books with being on the show. So
right. We both started reading the Daredevil series.
Yes, Mark. Yeah, that's right. The Mark Waid's been writing.
Yep.
And boy, I'm enjoying it. I'm hooked. I'm ready to just go and keep going with this.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Now, what did we read? 12, 13, and 14, which just came out today.
Yeah. I'm finding those right now.
Okay.
14. There we go. These have been a lot of fun,
Now, had you read much Daredevil?
No, not previously. You've actually kind of talked me into it. I was really turned off when I saw the Daredevil movie.
Yeah, it's a terrible movie, and really, it's just about it's more about casting and costume design all around that makes it a bad movie. I mean, the story is fine, it's.
Uh-huh.
I think. Yeah, it could have been a great movie, but what a rotten cast, know.
Yeah, and so
just say no to Ben Affleck.
As a warning to listeners and stuff, don't let the movies ruin you on things, because this is a great series so far.
Yeah.
And we've only read 3, but I mean, I'm definitely.
Well, I've read plenty of Daredevil.
Right, I've only read 3 of this series, and it's great. The storytelling is awesome. The artwork is a lot of. It's crisp. It's good. I like it a lot. Yeah, it's What do you have to say about it?
Well, okay, I'm digging it. I like this thing where Daredevil's kind of going against this mega crime syndicate, and then we're being led to Latveria. That's all I'm gonna say. That
right.
The land of Doctor Doom, but I'm interested in this. I think I picked this up. They had just done a crossover with Punisher. I was like, I try to avoid crossovers when I'm picking a book back up. So. But I don't feel that I'm lost.
No, I didn't either, and that's great because I'm just now jumping in.
Yeah. And
so it's a good feeling knowing, this is easy to follow.
Yeah.
They kind of did some. This is what kind of. Here's this thing. I got this from so and so. Now kind of stuff.
And Yeah, and I like that the way the art and the writing approach feels like it's a best of both worlds of classic Daredevil type stories.
Okay.
I mean, and what I mean by that, I mean, is earlier I think I was telling you about how I had read that some people, don't like the Frank Miller era of Daredevil.
Yeah.
That they prefer the time where it's a little more cliched comic book with lots of colorful villains.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Daredevil's classic Rogue Gallery is really fun. I think it's reminiscent of the Flash's Rogues Gallery, like really cool and really kind of out there. And so I like those books, where it's Stiltman or Mr. Fear or Mass Marauder and on these kinds of guys, Gladiator, Owl, but and that great Gene Colan art, who you'll probably remember from Tomb of Dracula.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Same artist. I mean, he certainly did other things, but Daredevil and Dracula for Marvel, I think, are two things he'll be most remembered for.
Okay.
But then the Frank Miller run in the book is kind of like moving away from a lot of those costume guys, and it's more like, okay, Daredevil and like Bullseye, Kingpin, Elektra.
Okay.
Kind of like the movie, but I mean, no.
But
that group of characters in like kind of makes it smaller and a little more down to earth.
Okay.
And more kind of gritty, and it starts to get into the like, what can we do to make Matt Murdock's life suck? And that's kind of like was ongoing through the Miller run, and I feel like there's been lots of up and downs with that, and I think it's great because Daredevil's a character that's constantly grown and developed. But I feel what Mark Waid's doing right now is really we're getting a marriage of like, cool, we're getting like classic comics kind of feel, but also it's very intelligent, like and a little bit of grit, like the Frank Miller years. Not as intense, but it's good. It's very good. I mean, this is the guy who wrote, Kingdom Come, which is not a lightweight story. It's,
right.
I enjoy Mark Waid a great deal. So I'd say that Daredevil currently, this is a great book.
Mm-hmm. Jump in is, I mean, definitely go Matt. You can jump in where your comic book store is at, wherever you find it.
Yeah, I mean, I started at 12 and I felt that was good, but 13 was just as fine.
Yeah.
Just as fine.
Yeah.
And 14 came out today. So
yeah.
So
check those out again. Local comic book store.
Yeah. Thanks from another world if you're here in Portland, Oregon.
Do you want to jump to this new crossover?
Oh, you wanted to... Well, it's not really a crossover. Well, yes and no. It's not cross titles. But the Doctor Who, Star Trek, The Next Generation limited series that's coming out. And I couldn't actually get the first issue. It had sold out. This is the second printing came out today.
Right.
And number 2 hasn't come out yet. But
no.
Apparently it's... when it goes into second print, it's it's high demand. So, I've read some previous Doctor Who books that IDW is putting out. They have the property now. I read this 4-issue arc that was kind of based a little bit on the movie Casablanca. I'll have to lend that to you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. That's all I'm gonna say, because I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Right.
This is cool. We're just kind of getting a setup, with if you remember Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the Deltans, the bald chick, their planet is being invaded by the Borg and Cybermen. And Cybermen are unknown to the Federation at this time, and blah, blah, blah. We kind of cut to Doctor Who kind of takes over the bulk of the story. Starts out in ancient Egypt. He gets out of some jam.
As he always does.
Yes. And in San Francisco, and of the 1940s,
yep.
And at the end we just kind of get a little, they walk into a bar with a certain android who can't speak contractions.
Right. In a nice pin-striped suit.
Yes. And that's all I'm going to say. But I'm intrigued. I think this book's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be some... I just tell there's going to be some weird tension between the Doctor and Picard.
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? I mean, seeing him with that cast of characters is just going to be fun. And of course, this is Matt Smith, 11th Doctor.
Right.
If you're not a Whovian, a.k.a. you're a square, translation, a.k.a. But yeah, I mean, I was going to say, if you're not a Whovian, you don't know what I'm talking about, but...
Right. Moving on, we can talk about the
Before Watchmen books they're continuing to roll out, and last week picked up the Silk Spectre #1. Today, the Comedian #1 came out.
Mm-hmm.
Last week we talked about Minutemen.
Yeah.
Which is good. That was great, and I'm enjoying these. These are cool. So it's like every week we're gonna get the #1 until it's, I think, the first, because it's 7 limited series.
Uh-huh.
And it's each one book is gonna come out each week. And this is not taking away anything from Watchmen. This is adding to the history of those characters. There's no spoilers because this is all before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this just enriches that. These are all very well written, and their illustration is top notch. I think it's all like the artists, it seems, are all like really like, it looks for the most part like classic comics.
Yeah.
And I think the choices they made art-wise has always been good. I mean, I wouldn't want to see any... it wouldn't look right if Jim Lee, I mean, who's great, was drawing this.
Right.
Or, I'm glad nobody let Rob Liefeld anywhere near this. But they've chosen excellent art. Comedian was cool. We see a close relationship with the Kennedy family. That's all I'm going to give away. Pick it up. You've picked it up.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to these. I was looking forward, and they're not letting me down so far. The only problem is it's going to be over a month.
Yeah.
Almost 2, really, until we see... Oh, will be 2 months before we see... from the first one until we see Minutemen #2. So it's going to be longer wait time, unless I'm wrong about the schedule. It's going to be longer wait time between books, to really get that. But it's okay because I got a book in this world coming out every week.
Yeah.
So I'm not cheated so bad. I think it's what it is going to mean. It's going to be like it's going to want me to reread each one as the next issue comes out.
Right.
So I got that going for me.
Yeah.
So
I'm going through these as well. Nick knows, not many of you. I've not gone through the Watchmen yet. I'm about halfway through now.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting way to go into because you're kind of reading them side by side.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Because
and is it spoiling anything for you?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I mean, the Watchmen book talked about how the Silk Spectre was really pushed into the position by her mother, and we get that kind of story in the Silk Spectre.
It just colors this in with more richness. You could never read these, but you'd be doing yourself a disservice.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, Watchmen itself is standalone great, but if you really like those characters, like how could you not want to read this?
It's making me care about the characters more while I'm reading it in the book.
Yeah. So
far.
I hope that after, I mean, obviously this is going to be a huge sales success for DC, and I'm already, and I hope that we'll get more Watchmen stuff.
Yeah. Definitely.
So.
We also read Super Crooks.
Ah, yes, Mark Millar's book limited series he's been working on lately. Mark Millar, as you may recall, he did Kick-Ass and one of my favorite books, Superman: Red Sun. Mm-hmm. That Elseworlds where he lands in Russia instead of Smallville.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't read that? I thought you had.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And there's a really good motion comic adaptation of it as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Question.
Okay.
This might be ridiculous, but he did The Spirit. Mark Millar.
What?
No. Okay.
The Spirit? Are you kidding me?
Oh. Okay.
No. You mean as a creator or?
I don't know. When the movie came out, I thought I was hearing those things. No?
No. The Spirit is a creation, actually, that dates back to the Golden Age.
Oh, okay.
Comics legend Will Eisner.
Okay.
And he really, he's probably was the guiding force between moving comics into a more mature and literary direction.
Okay.
No, that Mark Millar hadn't done the Spirit.
I wonder where. Okay.
Darwin Cook, who did Minutemen, he's doing the Minutemen limited series.
Uh-huh.
He's writing and illustrating it, and I think he wrote Spectre. He's writing the Spectre. He has done a revival of the Spirit.
Okay.
Maybe that's what you were thinking.
Maybe.
Because Ethan was talking about that when we were at Things last week.
Right.
So.
Maybe my brain just got messed up somewhere.
It's okay. My brain gets messed up all the time. But no.
Back to the Super Crooks.
Super Crooks is great. Mark Millar, I'm in. If his name's on it, I'm in for reading. I like the Icon imprint that Marvel's got, and they're doing some darker, more mature stuff. I love this. We read the first 3 issues, and I thought this was going to go on for 6, but apparently it's wrapping up with a 4th issue, where things are about to hit the fan for our friends. It's because you haven't read this, it's a group of supervillains get tired of getting tossed in jail all the time because there's like all these superheroes in America. They decide to help pay off the gambling debts of their mentor who was going to be killed by the mob,
right?
A superhuman mob. But anyway, but also like, you know what? Let's go and pull a huge heist in Europe where we're not going to have all this stuff. But so it's a group of supervillains that kind of go put together this heist. So it's like those heist movies like Snatch and like different things or Oceans and all that stuff. I haven't watched that. I've seen Snatch, but I haven't watched the Oceans bloody blah movies. But you know, we're a group of guys and they put together the heist plan. But normally I don't care about those kinds of stories, but because it's supervillains and that's such an interesting kind of twist on that, I'm in. I'm intrigued.
We get some cool villains.
Thank you for the recommendation on this book, Sean Wynn. But
we get some cool villains.
Who
I mean
it's funny, the superheroes in this story seem to be more bad guys.
Yeah,
really bad guys. Like they're really on power trips.
Yeah, definitely. The one line in here, the honor amongst thieves.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Just kind of like reminding the audience that, you know what, they're bad guys, but they seem to have more of like a morality than some of the heroes.
It reminds me of kind of like the kind of thing like you would expect from like a classic Justice League. You know, somebody, you know, one of us is in a jam and everybody rallies around them. You know, like, and it's weird to see this inversion of that. And these supervillains are the sympathetic characters here. Yeah. These are neat characters, you know. I mean, and some of them, like the Diesel brothers, are bad dudes. Right. But they're interesting. Yeah. I can't really recommend this any higher. I mean, it's really great. My only disappointment is I can't believe we've only got one more issue to go. Yeah. I could see this. I would like to see this story get drawn out a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that that number 4 isn't just you know, a big kind of condensed mashup and kind of thing. But I don't expect that from Mark Millar, you know. So
yeah, it's great. So yeah, pick these up at your local comic shop because they're just great. I can't say enough about them. I want to be able to talk about them more, but it seems like there's a lot of spoilers in here.
Yeah, and
it's great. There's a great. Each character kind of has its own little bio throughout, and that's fun. So
another book that we just came out actually last week, but I didn't pick it up till today. Sorry, it's just it's one of those things, budgetary reasons. I'm like, no, I couldn't get it till today. But it's Batman number 10, and now I have not been reading the Bat books, but
nor have I.
But a good friend of ours at Things was like, you got to pick this book up. This crazy revelation, Batman. I don't want to spoil it. It's pretty heavy.
You don't want to spoil it.
I don't want to spoil this reveal.
No, not at all.
But yeah, Batman number 10, pick it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what this whole Court of Owl business is because I haven't been reading Bat titles for a while. But I'm intrigued to go back and pick up some back issues and get more on this. But it seems like a secret society that's like kind of controlled a lot in Gotham.
Right.
A major reveal.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, and it just turning the Bat world on its ear. Actually, I would say. Yeah, that's for new books.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
we kind of started some Green Lantern, but we're not really into it far enough to get a good judging.
Well, you picked up some recent back issues, but I think until we're like kind of caught up, I think we'll save that.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, any other books that you were reading this week?
I mean, again, I'm going through Watchmen, which is, oh my gosh, it's so good, and I'm bummed that I didn't enjoy the movie as much. It was probably because I fell asleep at some point.
Yeah, and it's like, I think it's one of those things, like, the movie, I can't imagine going in cold not having read the comic.
Right, yeah.
I told my brother, look, I'm paying your way, but you got to read this comic. And he did, and he was like, wow. So...
definitely, I mean, it's for mature audiences.
Yeah, it's definitely not kid stuff.
It is a very good book. I read the reviews on the back, and even halfway now, I'm agreeing with them.
Oh, sure. The Time magazine's put it on, or Time or People, or one of those put on. I think it's Time. People.
Yeah.
What am I thinking? Put on like the 100 greatest books of the 20th century.
Oh wow.
Which
is a huge credit to.
Well, sure. I mean,
the comic book medium.
I don't know if there were other comics that are on that list. Right. Maybe Millar's Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, okay.
Which I know you've read, and that was terrific.
Yeah.
What are some? Who are some really in your reading Watchmen, and you're about you're about halfway.
Yeah.
What is your take on some of those characters, and what are your kind of just gut initial kind of impressions and feelings about
the book has done a really good job in making me hate the comedian. And so
he's not supposed to be a sympathetic guy.
Yeah, and so reading this comedian
the limited series now.
Yeah, the before Watchmen.
Yeah.
It's like it seems almost like two different guys, but you can still kind of see the workings into what he can become.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, as you read Watchmen, it's like, you'll never think that Eddie Blake isn't a bad guy, but you'll feel bad for him.
Yeah. Because
it seems like he could have been good.
Yeah.
But things that happened took away his chance to be good. There was redemption for Edward Blake.
Right. He's just a product of the kind of crap world.
And not to give him that excuse, because there was always the choice, but he let the world win. He let the world change him rather than him changing the world.
Right.
And so he failed as a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
In that. The comedian is perhaps one of the most complicated and interesting characters in it, and it's like, and he's a bad guy.
Yeah. And I mean, you get some of that
but you empathize with him.
Yeah.
And so it's
he's one character that will just intrigue me for a while.
Yeah.
I kind of told you this. I got kind of confused by the insertion of the pirate comic stuff throughout. It was kind of like jumbled for me.
The Black Freighter.
Yeah, the Black Freighter.
Yes, and it's the further you get into the story, the more it makes sense symbolically.
Right.
With what's going as the story develops.
Yeah.
It becomes like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't want Watchmen to not have that.
Right. And I just read there's insertions behind each chapter.
Oh yes, in the limited series that are coming out, there's a 2-page serialized different pirate story.
Right.
So we're getting 2 pages of that each time.
I was actually referring to the like under the hood.
Oh, in those back pages, the
Yeah.
little what do I call it? Appendices almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those all add to this, except for the one that's about owls and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't got that yet.
Yeah, it's that skip it because it doesn't add anything to the story. But everything else adds details to it. That's like literally an ornithological piece that like I think Night Owl wrote.
Weird.
Yeah, because he would do that.
Right. Well, yeah.
That's a real snooze fest. But everything else, all the other addendums a little at the end are great.
Yeah, and you know what? Looking back, I have no idea why I was so wary of Watchmen. It was probably because I had a bad experience watching the movie.
Or you could have been listening to remembering the words of Public Enemy. Don't believe the hype.
Right.
Because it is a very hyped book, but you know what? It's deserved.
Yes.
You know, some people are let down. They're like, yeah, it's good, but not to that.
So far, I'll say yes. Definitely, I agree with you. I don't have the ending, so but
it's groovy.
Yeah, it's a book that people should be reading.
Yeah. So I don't know, Spencer. Do you think you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
I think we've gone over everything we've read.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So listen. Like us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Send us an email. Leave comments on our YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Email us at comic.reflections@gmail.com.
Yep. gmail.com.
And we'll please tune in next week.
Yeah.
What an awkward wrap up.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.